social innovation and social enterprises that I've worked with over the last 6 years, to give you some ideas of the kinds of interesting organizations that perhaps you'll go on to work with, support, or start after this course. So as you can tell from my accent, yes, I'm not from Canada. I'm actually from a small island called the Isle of Man, which I've already heard a few people have heard of. Beautiful island, that's a story for another time. But I was working in London since about 2010 until recently to support these kinds of social innovative projects. I'd like to tell you some examples and hopefully just keep it fun, interesting and inspiring, because I think that that's a big part of why we get into this kind of work, because of the interesting, inspiring people and organizations that we can work with once we finish studying. I studied business. There wasn't a business and humanities course when I was at university, but I really would have liked to. I've had to learn by doing, and that's what I've been doing ever since. So the first thing that I got into actually in social innovation when I started working in London in this field was social investment speed dating. So that's where we took one group of high net worth individuals and we matched them over here with a group of social entrepreneurs. And we tried very much in the kind of speed dating style of sitting them down for 5 minutes with each other and seeing if a social entrepreneur could convince a high net worth individual to give them £1 million or whatever they were looking for. I should tell you, it was quite hard to do that. It is hard to convince anyone to give you anything like that amount in 5 minutes. So it didn't work exactly, but of course it did start the relationships, which is what we wanted. It's like going on a normal speed date and asking someone to marry you straight away. It's not the approach to take. But we work with some great organizations in that kind of investment field, helping social entrepreneurs get investment. You might not have heard of them, but one example was Peopletree. Peopletree is simply a fair trade, ethical fashion company. And it's a multi-million-pound turnover company that sells products in the UK and in Japan. They were looking to raise money, and they're a very just inspiring company to be around. Another very different organization that we work with, apart from fair trade fashion, was a technology-based company called Just Giving. So Just Giving was a platform that helps you and I raise money from our friends through the internet. They take 5% profit from every transaction that you do to raise money from your friends and family, but they've enabled so many more people to raise money through online giving. I mean, online giving perhaps seems normal now, but 6, 7, 8 years ago, it was Just Giving that was really pioneering in this. And it's become a multi-million-pound company. It's the kind of organization that has a real strong purpose. It's really increased the amount of donations that charities can get. And it's growing. It's an opportunity for people to work with and support. So those are the kinds of things that we try to match up at social investment speed dating. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. After some of that kind of work with the investments there, I went on to run educational programs for social enterprises, because we realized that sometimes they didn't know how to speak to investors, they didn't know how to speak to people to raise money. And along with running investment readiness courses for social entrepreneurs, we also did crowdfunding accelerators. You all know crowdfunding, things like Kickstarter, Indiegogo. Well, crowdfunding can be really good for social innovation because there's a clear message, there's a clear need for why you're doing what you're doing. But even with that clear need, the entrepreneurs don't always know how to share their story. So we help train them in how to share their stories and what people might look for, how to do their PR and all this kinds of thing. And we had a few success stories from that as well. And again, it's just great to be working around these kind of organizations. The first one I want to talk about is called Positive News Media. So Positive News Media shares, as you might imagine, the positive news stories that happen in the world today. We get so much news, and it's important to stay informed, but when it's continually negative, it makes us feel that the world is negative. And you probably see this in your lives as well. It's great to know what's also happening that's good in the world, because there's so much good happening in the world. I mean, I found it really inspiring to read their quarterly magazine and their website, and so I became a co-investor. They raised about £250,000 or maybe $400,000. I'm a co-owner now in Positive News Media. It's really inspiring. Another organisation that we helped with crowdfunding was called Gravity Light. So Gravity Light's more in the clean technology field. So they had a gizmo that you attach to a wall or anywhere. It has a hook. You fill a bag with sand or mud, put it on the hook, and as the hook falls down, it generates enough electricity to power a light for several hours. It's a really useful device for people who don't have electricity. They managed to run a huge, successful crowdfunding campaign on a kind of buy one, give one model and raised over $1 million. And people would buy them like me for your garage or your cottage, and you're also being able to send them out around the world. So it was a huge raise and a really sort of successful campaign for the Gravity Light project. It's a great team. Okay, but I have saved perhaps one of the most innovative ideas that I personally invented myself, and I think you're going to be astounded by the level of innovation that I invented in London, social enterprise scene. So you've perhaps heard of peer-to-peer learning. That's what you guys will be doing on this course. You learn from lecturers, you learn from teachers, but a lot of the time you're learning from each other. And that's a really important part of the course. It's something that's different from an online learning course, that peer-to-peer learning. And for us in London, we wanted the social entrepreneurs to do peer-to-peer learning. Learning doesn't stop once you've finished university. But I needed a hook to make peer-to-peer learning more interesting for the social entrepreneurs. So that's when I came up with beer-to-beer learning. This was a kind of social entrepreneurs walking tour around London, where I would invite a group of social entrepreneurs and supply them with locally sourced organic beer in 3 or 4 different co-working spaces and social enterprises. And together, we take a journey, walking, whatever, trains. We chat, we talk about each other's social enterprises, and we drink beer. And we learn about each other, and we bond, and we connect. And for this amazing innovation, I was awarded £1,000 to continue doing it for more social enterprises. Just to put that on the scale with the other sort of investments that the other companies were looking at. You can see it's quite inspiring, really. I mean, it's one of my proudest achievements. And also, I just want to mention, because Emma was talking about it, the learning journeys that you're going on. Actually, this kind of walking tour did come from my interest and experience in learning journeys, and I really think there's a lot of value in going from where you are to learn something in a different place. That journey bonds you, the adventure, it changes you. I've been a big fan of that. The story about writing a book in Brazil, I've always been interested in exploring countries and writing about the social enterprise that happens in them. Done a lot of the travel writing and travel blogging, and I really think that's a key part of this course. And in fact, that kind of brings me to why I'm here now. And it's not because of Brexit. I mean, that is a little bit of a thing, but it's not the reason. Although Brexit will now affect funding for social innovation in the UK. Some of these programs and courses that I was doing, they receive European money to support social innovation. So I'm not that happy that that will be stopping. I hope that Britain can continue to do things with funding and social innovation. But I'm here mainly because my beautiful fiancée Ella, who's Canadian and right here, invited me to Canada. And I said, yes, that sounds like a wonderful idea. I'd love to come to Canada. And not coincidentally, I'd also started my own business in the UK, selling travel products and travel bags that became location independent, as in it's a company that I could operate. It's based in the Isle of Man. It sells products in the US and in the UK, and I can be here while the company is running now. Of course, I know it's difficult to build a social enterprise, and I'm still putting that into my own business. I have a mission to plant 1,000 trees with the products that I sell this year, and a kind of buy one, give one, buy one, plant one model. But it's a work in progress, and I want you to all know that too. That business and life, it's a work in progress. Just try your ideas, along with the kind of education that you can get here. Try your ideas, because you really never know where they might lead you. And with that, that's the end of my talk. Thank you.